That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable. The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place.
Welcome, Theorites and Theorettes. It's the top of the hour, and you're just in time for ATT After Dark. On this very special Valentine's Day case file, we take a look at an erotic extraterrestrial encounter out of Brazil. Is there anything more romantic than entities from beyond the stars beaming you up for a steamy probing session? But it seems these sensual star travelers have plans beyond just a sub-orbital one-night stand. In a bit of telepathic pillow talk, it seems we hear once again about the idea of alien-human hybrids. Are these vivacious visitors here to reproduce and replace the human race? Or are we simply a roadside stop for superstellar sex tourists? This case file joined the theorists on a hunt for love at the speed of light in the Jardim Alvorada Affair.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 224, the Jardim Avocado UFO Abduction Encounter. I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan. And I'm Andrew.
Love avocados.
Healthy fats, boys. Why did you even ask me how to pronounce it? At the beginning, like, why'd you even ask me? That's just you were going to do it anyways.
Literally 2 seconds before we went live on air, I was like, how do I pronounce this again? And it's actually the Jardim Alvorada UFO abduction encounter. Well, this is a Valentine's Day show. We're recording this on Valentine's Day, so obviously we're going to get a little sultry with it today. Here's a little hypothetical for you guys. Would you, you're abducted, you're taken away in a craft, and an alien comes and starts, giving you the eyes. You pulling the trigger? You sealing the deal? That's what I want to know.
Well, like just the eyes, or
Dan, you sealing the deal?
I mean, what kind of aliens
describe
are
the
we
alien
talking
to
about
us?
here? Like, yeah. Oh, look at this guy wants to have fucking standards all of a sudden. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, my Sanook.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we're talking like, you're in the room, you've already been lubed up, a la the, what was that other guy?
Oh, are we talking triangles again, here, boys?
Oh, yeah.
No, not Streber.
Yeah,
not
big
Streber.
old Toblerone.
Yeah, no thanks.
You're already lubed up, and then basically what comes in is one of the grays wearing a wig. Like it's noticeably a gray wearing a wig.
No.
Right?
So
I'd be like, I'm flattered. I'm flattered.
So a 3 foot tall gray alien. Is the alien wearing
a wig?
Just
noticeable.
All right,
just
listen.
a wig?
I'll tell you first off. I'm already, I'm being swayed to a yes here because I'm already taller than her. So that's a win.
That's a bone. That's one.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, for the story, for the pod, I would do it.
Oh my God. That reminds me of a little time we'd spent in Penticton, if you remember, if you catch my drift.
Oh.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that dies there.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll bring that up in after hours.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can't bring it up on here. We'll get canceled.
And divorced.
Yeah. This one, the Jardim Alvorada UFO avocado encounter is just that. It's an encounter where there is, of sexual nature. So why don't we get into it, Dan? Oh yeah, except this one has children, and they always refer to as men, and I'm like, 13-year-old is not a man.
Well, after this event, they became
men real quick.
Yes. Well, yeah, hey, what's wrong with a couple of grays helping boys become men, right?
There you go. It's a coming of age story here.
So this particular incident, yes, does involve two, I don't know if you call them teachers, the teenagers or whatever. The principal witnesses are Joselino de Matos, who was 21 at the time. And then he was an electrician or a linesman, and his brother, Roberto Carlos, who was 13. But the principal experiencer, like these were two of the witnesses that saw, at least encountered the object. With the experience that actually happened to Joselino, who was 21.
Oh, dude, my note. I made a fundamental error in my note. I thought he was 13, and I was like, whoa. He's a man. He's a man.
Okay.
His brother became a man after this.
So
all above board in this story. Everyone's adults.
What's the age of consent in Brazil? Because I don't know if it's 100% above board.
Hey Zell.
Yoy.
My Pro Tools crashed, so my audio takes place as of right now. Okay.
Oh my God, dude, we're just having a time tonight.
Oh, I didn't even push this record on Zoom either. Oh my God. Stupid.
Everything's on fire.
Oh, the whole...
Burn it all down.
Fucking delete.
Control Alt Delete. Wasn't our last Valentine's Day show a fucking mess too?
Oh yeah. I think it's now become tradition that they're just like garbage.
It's 100% our worst show of all time. Was last year's Valentine's Day show.
It was.
Until now. Until today.
Yeah.
That's our new thing. Every year we should just try to put out the biggest steaming pile of trash on Valentine's Day. So that people listening will put down their headphones and be like, I got to find it.
Right. Did you start?
I can't listen to these guys for another
Did you start recording again?
It's trash. Yeah, I started right when I told you that I had it all dialed
Andrew, re-record note. Okay.
Yeah, we're making Zell's getting his money's worth out of his editing this case file.
Hell yeah, buddy.
It's gonna be
I'm just gonna put it out.
Right, so we have
is.
Whatever.
Fuck it.
Just call it case file 224. Fuck it.
So you have Joselino and you have Roberto, who on the night of April 13th, 1979, had gone to their sister's house to watch a religious program, since April 13th had been a religious date in Brazil, type of holiday, I believe. Now, the ceremony apparently wasn't going to begin or be televised until about midnight. So they decided instead to just go home, which is weird because I'm like, why would you go all the way to the house, wait around until 11:30 or so and then leave?
Hey, let me tell you something. That resonates with me so much. Every New Year's is like that. The celebration, everyone's waiting for midnight. And by 10:30, I'm like, I'm done. I want to go home.
What do they mean by religious program?
So this resonates with me.
What religious program? Like
some sort of televised, probably like a sermon
a church
or some
service?
kind of like.
Yeah, somebody's going to get bitten by a snake and another guy's going to cure him and everybody's going to fucking celebrate and put money in a hat.
Someone's going to get drowned in a small pool. And
it's just normal stuff.
Regular shit. All right.
Right. And then they're going to sell you fucking miracle spring water after for $7.99, $9 to $5. You're going to buy that shit.
So on their way home, Joselino's brother drew his attention to what appeared to be a strange looking star, a strange appearing star in the sky. They continued to walk down the street, and Joselino noted that the star actually looked like it was following the brothers, like as they walked. And then when they arrived at the corner where normally...
Do you think for a second they thought maybe it was Jesus following them and being like, you guys should have watched that fucking show.
Yeah,
you fucked up. You repent.
When was this April? Yeah.
You thought.
Get back there. Turn your ass around.
So when they arrived at a corner where they normally turn to go home, they said they felt a kind of strange sensation. And Joselino likened it to something like he said that he felt like his blood began to run wild in his veins. And he felt this
just this urge to start walking towards a tree. Like this impulse.
To be 21 again. Am I right?
Just popped a huge boner is what you're saying.
Yeah, his blood's running wild, man.
And then they felt this like irresistible impulse to walk towards this tree in the middle of a plowed field that was in their area.
Easy, boys.
Yeah,
it's a tree.
Now they said walking towards it was difficult. Like, so it wasn't like they just like kind of went out into this like nice clean field. I mean, they reported that the field had just recently been plowed, so you had all these furrows, and they're kind of like climbing all over these dirt hills, getting into it. And so they fell down on the ground underneath a tree that was in the field. And then he remembers seeing this strange object that had managed to come down. It seemed to come towards the ground and then was just about 10 or 15 meters away from the both of them. And then it was just floating there about 2 or 3 meters above the ground.
When they say object, like an orb or a craft, or could they make it out the shape?
Originally, like when he recalled the original memory of what he had, it's just this object, like it was just a floating orb kind of light, like this large object. Like it's just didn't really have like a size or like a real description to it, I don't think.
Right. Okay.
But it was something that just wasn't supposed to be there, and it was. So after seeing this object here, he says that he felt like he heard this voice, but it wasn't through his ears. He said it was coming through like in a dream, he said. And there was, but he remembers clearly that it sounded something like, "The job is not ended. We will be back." And I assume they were speaking in Portuguese.
What is that in Portuguese? What is that in Portuguese, Dan?
I don't know.
What? Damn it. What is it in Spanish?
The job is not ended. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Damn it.
Like regresamos, like, the job is not dead. Trabajo no es fin.
So not cool either way.
Well, it's because you didn't get time to practice. If you had time to practice, it would put the fucking, a little bit of spice on it. Now he just sounded like a white guy trying to say it. It sounded like shit.
Yeah, it's like, just on the spot. I'm trying to think about it. It's really
cervezas, por favor.
In
Portuguese, it's okay. Well, I don't.
Here we go.
I don't speak. El trabajo no es terminam. Like
you're close. It's o trabalho no acabou voltamero.
Oh yeah, acabar. Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's just that's how white guy says it.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Can't beat Brayton when it comes to that.
Yeah. Okay. But they said that like they kind of blacked out for a second after they heard this, and then they woke up still underneath the tree. But it was they found that movement and kind of getting up was very difficult, and even walking, they were having difficulty just walking back through the field, and they got extremely dirty with the mud and everything.
One of the things that I had read about their walking is like they had to lean on each other, and like their limbs, like moving their limbs and everything, like felt like they were like, it was like trying to move through like almost clay, like even in the air. Like it was so labored for them that they even had to lean on each other, and they're like pulling each other forward. Like they were having such difficulty.
Just slugging through.
Yeah. And Joselino said that he felt like a sudden hunger, like he's been hungry, or either kind of been like hasn't eaten in a long time. When they arrived home, his mother and his other brothers were waiting for them, and they actually, like, when they made it home, they collapsed through the door. Like when they got to the door, like they were completely spent, and they just like crashed through the door. Actually, I think they like damaged the door as they kind of passed out through it.
Kind of like Wolf of Wall Street style, coming out of his fucking Lambo or whatever.
Just completely fucked. But these guys were only gone for 2 hours, right? Like there's like a 2-hour journey, but it seems like they've hit the wall, in other terms, right? They have no energy left.
Well, it sounds like they're coming off of some type of like sedative, like a benzo or something. Like you see that in benzo overdoses where it's just like full on zombie mode where you lose complete motor function and you're just sloppy.
Huh.
And so when they began to kind of tell their mother and the rest of the family that were there at the house, they totally didn't believe Joselino and his brother. Like they didn't believe what he was saying, but they took them outside and they said they actually pointed at this star.
Look, there it is.
It was still there. And then when Joselino began to tell them about what happened, about witnessing this object and being whatever, he said that he received him and his brother both received a kind of powerful shock sensation that left them pretty much like they couldn't move, like they fell to the ground and felt like they were just being like electricity was just running through their body, totally incapacitating them.
Right? Like to me, as soon as I was reading that, I started to think of like just recently the Copley Woods incident where she's, kind of describes like getting hit by that ball of lightning.
Is that the pump house one?
Yeah, pump house.
Yeah, that's what I thought of too.
Right? And then she's kind of like paralyzed down, has these visions. The interesting thing about this one is that these effects are seemingly as they're telling the story and they last until this star disappears, whatever this light is. And when this star disappears, whatever hold it has over these boys dissipates as well. So it's almost like it was stopping them from spilling the beans.
And like an energy tether to them.
Yeah, right? And it's weird that it happened just as they were. I wonder if it's happy coincidence that it happened just as they were trying to retell what happened, or if it's just some, like you said, an energy tether. Like I wasn't sure with that one.
It's interesting because it's obviously like, think about how precise that is too, right? So it's obviously like let's say it's not some type of drug they gave them, it's some type of weapon or whatever they have. They're able to fucking pinpoint it on these two kids while they're in the same room with their mom, with their parents, right? Like, yeah, that's interesting. That's cool.
Wait, so did they? So they felt electrified, but in one of the accounts I read, like it seemed like when their family like touched them, they felt like an energy as well. Like they actually could feel.
Right. So there is some report that part of the reports that do say that their family, like their mother, I think their mother or one of the family members, like touched them while they were in the throes of this. Of whatever was happening to them and keeping them from talking. And they said they felt like it was like there's some type of energy like running through them, or they could like feel it radiating off them.
Weird.
And so again, I kind of go, is that a happy coincidence that as they're talking about it, this happens? Or I wonder if this is, part of me was kind of thinking that because this thing, whatever it is, leaves right after, that maybe perhaps, because I thought the idea of them talking and this ship stopping them from telling the story didn't really make sense because, 20 minutes later, they tell the story fine. So it's like, why stop them in that moment? But what I thought is if maybe there was like some sort of drive activation of however the ship moves or propels itself through space, that when it's being activated, like you kind of said, there's still a tethered connection between the boys. So they're feeling the effects of this ship beginning to travel somehow. Wouldn't the other people, like wouldn't the mom and shit feel that too then? Well, they weren't on the ship.
Well, we don't even,
right?
They don't even know they're on the ship at this point. They just like, they were in the field, they looked up and it seemed like, now did it say like they felt like time was missing? Like, or did they feel like the full 2 hours had gone by or did they not?
They said they had like fallen asleep and then it was just like the sensation was more like they hadn't been asleep that long. They just kind of knocked out and then they woke up and then they were back. Like they were underneath that tree, which they had felt the urge to walk to.
So they get drawn out into the field to the tree. They see this 10 to 15, was it 10, 15 meter craft or how big was it?
No, it was 10, 15 meters away from them. And it was like 2 or 3 meters. I don't think he can recall the exact size of it. It was just this bright object that was just kind of floating there on the ground.
Right.
It's interesting. It makes me think like maybe it was because they started feeling effects even before they were supposedly like fell asleep and whatever, they got taken up the ship. We'll get to that later. But it's almost like it was some type of frequency or something like that was like hypnotizing them to bring them towards the fucking ship.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a lot of encounters we talk about is like there is like a mind controlling frequency almost to the encounter. Like where they don't know why they don't want to be there, but they're like drawn there. Kind of like in the Copley Woods when she's drawn to the garage and shit.
That's fucking so cool. It's so effortless on their part too, right? Like you don't even have to make contact with this person. You completely just like hypnotize them from afar and draw them into you. Like it's like what other like tigers do that, right? Don't they? Can't they have some?
Like a
they have
purr
an
or
ability to
something.
kind of
Right? They have like a
they have an
purr.
ability to
It's infrasound. Yeah. It's a type of infrasound. Like some predators, like tigers, do
And
it. Where it's
Sasquatch.
ultra, and Sasquatch.
Sassy Squatch.
Ultra low frequencies, which do sometimes have a effect, like a physiological effect on the brain, like either lulling it into things or kind of like, I don't know, almost like a stunning.
Imagine if that's something that they studied while coming to Earth. Like, let's say they studied the tiger for a bit and they're like, wow, that's fucking amazing. And they invented their own technology that could do some of the things to humans. Right? Like, fuck.
It also makes me think that, I totally instantly lost my train of thought midway through that sentence. Because I was thinking how cool it is.
Because we hit you with the infrasound.
Gotcha.
Well, no, I was thinking how cool it would be if they studied tigers to learn that the effects of that stuff on humans. But I had something to say about ultrasound too, but I can't remember now. Infrasound. Oh, it just maybe there's some sort of like there is just a frequency for us that turns us like a moth to a flame. Like you just can't help it. Like you're just drawn like magnetized to this frequency for whatever reason. In humans, you play it and we're just, we're drawn.
Just like,
I mean, why not? It happens to dogs. It happens to so many different types of animals, right? Like,
fuck, I hear cowbell. I'm on my way.
dinner time.
What's going on there? The triangle? The triangle? I'm running. I'm running, baby.
Yeah, but you also hear the fucking ice cream song from the Ice Cream Man, and you're taking
my little segue. My mom can't whistle, so when we were kids, like you'd be like down the road or whatever, and like other parents would like do a whistle or whatever, and my mom would just go. That was like me and my brother's call for like that's time to come home. So you'd be like outside, like playing with your friends, like fucking so stupid.
Now,
so maybe it was just that over the PA system.
So they get like hypnotized by this craft. Now, was there any other like people in the area who witnessed the craft? Like we know.
So there is mention of other residents actually witnessing and reporting strange aerial anomalies that night, and so people take that to corroborate the sighting of thing. I couldn't find any actual names or reports filed by actual people. It just said that there were other residents that's witnessed this phenomenon.
Well, and
around the same time.
And to be fair, to be a counterpoint to Dan is 100% right. But I will add this preface in English because there's lots of videos and interviews about this in Portuguese.
Right.
Not a lot in English. Like I think there's maybe 3 or 4 articles really.
I watched at least one video about a guy doing it, and he did it in Portuguese, but like they didn't mention. I mean, they said again, they mentioned the point about there being other witnesses or people seeing things in the sky, but it didn't really go. There weren't a lot of details about who saw it or where those people were located exactly. So, Joscelino's experience and what happened actually, raised a bit of interest in his community and the UFO, once the story kind of got out. And he did a number of interviews with like local UFO groups. I think like one of them was like the Center for Study of Flying Saucers or something, which I think is like now a defunct, like it was a proto MUFON,
right?
Or like a MUFON spinoff or whatever. One of those kinds of, civilian UFO investigatory society. Yeah. And, but from that, we get this, at least a report and kind of like there's a couple transcripts of Joscelino going, under hypnotic regression, which was the main procedure of the day in order to recover memories, since he already had the missing time. And it seemed to, hypnotic regression had been used in the Benny and Barney Hill cases and a couple other cases in the United States, like the most famous ones.
Is there any science backing it?
Hypnotic regression?
Yeah.
It's tough to prove.
I know we've mentioned it before. Like hypnotic regression is hypnosis in itself is something that is, I mean, it's not admissible in court. So, I mean, you can't use recollections done under hypnosis. I mean, there's a lot of
You can't use a poly either, but they still do it.
Well, they still do it, but it's still like, yeah, you can't use them in court and they're not considered
Isn't the poly
accurate.
The poly is like more like a coercion thing. Like they kind of get you scared.
The machine is basically
listen,
reads your vital signs.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Absolutely. No, and that's the truth.
Well, that's the thing about like hypnosis and stuff. Like because we do know there is like in traumatic events, people will just like file that memory away and just try and like completely forget it.
Traumatic amnesia.
Yeah, just gone. So if this is a traumatic event and you do like file that away in the same type of like in the same category as like other trauma victims, who's to say that? Who's to say that if the person's qualified and know what they're doing and they could somehow unlock that memory? That's the thing that people can't prove though. Is like, is that a true memory or is that like a coerced memory?
Well, that's why I want.
The person
they fly in?
telling you a fucking tale, right? You have
Did
no idea.
they fly in Dr. Granulados?
Doctor.
Was he trained under Dr. Sprinkles?
That's Sprinkles in Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we forgot. Dr. Sprinkles. He did pass away not too long ago. So,
yeah,
Dr. Sprinkles.
cheers, Dr. Sprinkles.
Cheers.
Thanks for all your work.
Yeah.
Even though it might not be scientifically backed, we appreciate it.
Great man, nonetheless.
So yeah, hypnotic regression is a bit suspect sometimes. It can be, but back then that was that was kind of the go-to procedure for recovering what a lot of people, UFO community believed was like blocked memories, because that was what abductees were kind of reporting, that they couldn't remember what they had, and this was kind of the tool that they were decided to use. So under hypnosis, Joselino went on to go, they took him back to when he first saw the star and when they started going into the field under the whatever they felt, that impulse to go towards that tree. So he recalled, going across the field to reach the star, collapsing on the ground beneath the object. But this time he said that before collapsing, somebody actually came and caught them, both of them. And then they took them up to a height of like floating them to a height to a craft. Like this craft that he said, he noted that there was a door that opened on the side of this craft and took them in. And inside this doorway, there were two men waiting for him.
So they collapsed under the tree and they're seeming like brought, like lifted or like
floated.
Floated, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also said like this craft, it looked like steel and bolts, but made no noise whatsoever. Like they said it looked like very, like almost one of the descriptions I read, I took it as like looked riveted, like a metal, like riveted, like you could, as you picture it in your head, but was floating there emitting light with
no noise.
No sound.
Ooh. Weird.
So of these two men that were in the doorway, Joselino recalls one of them holding some type of object that he couldn't identify, some kind of long, slender object. And he touched Joselino's arm with it and then kind of gestured him to inside. So now Joselino was kind of walking, so he wasn't like floating at this point. Once they got inside, I think he was walking kind of under his own power at this point. But they led him through and he was kind of, they led him, like these entities were leading him through the craft.
Fucking cattle prod.
Yeah, that's what I asked. What was the object?
He doesn't know. He didn't. I mean, he doesn't report feeling any sensation when it touched his arm. So if it was like some kind of like scanning device or something like that, could have been something like that. But
you know what I kind of thought is because of the electricity in their bodies afterwards and stuff, I thought it was maybe something that he touched. Like, when the high line wires, they'll touch the wires with like the rod to charge their basket or stuff or whatever, so they ground themselves.
Sure.
If them touching this guy with this was something to like making sure they don't get like fried walking around in their ship.
Like, because he's all charged up from getting floated up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. That's why I was wondering what that, like it touched him with the object. I was like, what the fuck was the object?
So Joselino recalls...
Or he's like, this is going in you later.
Pucker up.
Just checking making sure it fits. Yeah, okay, this is good.
So like, pucker up. He's like, ooh, not the kissing lips.
And just to clarify, he said, like, they said two men, right? Like, not aliens.
Right. So
men.
two male entities. Like they look like, most of these people, he said that when they report later, like what they look like, it's mostly, he doesn't report anything. It's not your typical archetypal grays or anything. I mean, he just said they kind of just look like humans.
Could have been Nordics.
Yeah, but the thing he said male. So is this like hanging fucking brain here? Like, how do we know?
Well, I mean, like probably the short hair and just like the masculine features and stuff.
Probably.
Little beer gut.
Dad bod. Couple of dad bods.
So these entities just led him through different
their ginch. These guys come in their white ginch.
Hey,
come on in. There you go.
Poke them.
Well, I believe they were wearing black coveralls, so they were wearing clothes. Like he did mark that. But these entities led him through different compartments into another room. But as he passed through these other areas in the ship, like a short little trip through these things, he does recalling different details that he saw. He reported seeing what looked like, for some reason, he got the notion that there's some sort of conical shaped motors, like rotating without any sound, kind of like floating there and kind of rotating. He remembers seeing some type of what he thought or he judged to be some type of command console with lights and screens over it.
Dope.
And then he said he went into another room. This was kind of interesting. He walked into another room and he said he saw photographs similar to those of Earth. So these photographs seem to be fixed on the wall in a kind of like a videotape or a TV screen is what he said. A nice
collage of pictures in the ET room.
Seems like it. That's what he that's what he makes it. Yeah.
But he couldn't remember like what the pictures were about, though, right? He just remembers there was like a bunch of pictures, kind of like
just a bunch of pictures, yeah,
just like a teenager's room.
Yeah, just a couple of cutouts like Teen Beat, fucking Got Milk, fucking posters for magazines and shit. Blink-182, Tom DeLonge.
Picture of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just all the classics.
Oh my God, Sarah!
I mean, this is 1970.
A picture of Sunny from WWE.
I suppose.
Well, if the aliens are time travelers, they got all the good stuff from every era.
Sure.
Phoebe Cates.
So they finally led him into some type of what he judged to be a medical examination room, and they had like a type of chair, doctor's chair or dentist's like chair that they had, or no, it's more like a table, I suppose. And they had Joselino lay down on this, and he remembers them placing some type of helmet-like instrument onto his head, and then
cerebro.
And then he remembers that these entities kind of conversed between themselves in a language that he couldn't understand.
What if it's those headsets from Demolition Man?
Yeah.
Right?
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
That's a good movie. 3 Seashells, man. So yeah, they put this helmet on him, and he just remembers hearing these entities converse in some type of language that he couldn't understand.
Who's first? Who's up first?
Yeah. You want some? You want some?
All right, just before we get to this, Dan, because it's about to get a little wild.
Yep.
So it is the Valentine's week. We gotta grab a beer. We'll be right back.
That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
Welcome back to
ATT After Dark. When we last left Joselino, he was locked up in a sexy examination room.
Getting prodded by a long triangular probe.
We need David Duchovny on this one.
For both, he plays two roles:
Red Shoe
Mulder
Diaries.
and whoever he played in Red Shoe Diaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Narrating it.
So Joselino is helmeted up and he's under the examination of these two male entities. And then he says, after a few minutes after this, he reported that a woman arrived.
It's a
in the room.
lady.
I'm not sure if he's still wearing the helmet at this point because I don't know if that's. So I'm still picturing him like wearing this like weird ass helmet.
I think he's still in the helmet.
I wonder
He's
if he's
still wearing the
like,
helmet. Okay.
The chick walks in, he's like, "Oh fuck! I hope I don't look like a dork in this helmet."
Looking like fucking, what's the guy from Spaceballs? This giant helmet. Lord Helmet, is it? Darth Helmet?
Darth helmet.
Yeah.
And so he describes, he's pretty aware at this point, like under his hypnotic regression, like they asked him like for details about how these entities look. And from his reports, they all sounded pretty much like this. They look human, like to him. Like when he described the features of the female who walked in, like he was immediately able to tell that she was female.
Yeah.
He described her as being similar to a medium Brazilian woman a little bit, but she was taller than the men were.
It must be those fucking aliens from Galaxy Quest. They're like, we need your help. Like, you know how they're like fucking nasty fucking octopus motherfuckers.
This is Glorbnook.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I forgot about that movie.
It's a fucking great movie.
She apparently had black, like shoulder length, straight hair. He said that kind of curled up at the bottom. She was wearing, I guess, a sexy black coveralls.
Dan,
like
come on.
ones.
Reverse a little bit. You gotta put a little, come on, a little whisper on it. Wear sexy black coveralls.
Sensual, raven dark black hair, cooling up from the bottom, wearing a form-fitting, tight black coveralls. And so
She was tall,
relations
tall,
commenced.
long, sexy legs. Does say she?
Whoa, what do you mean relations commenced?
Relations commenced, apparently. So she apparently.
Whoa, we're not skipping over this. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying
You can't
okay.
yada yada
You
yada.
don't
the
yada
good
yada.
stuff.
Okay, hold on. So this guy's fucking sitting there stark ass naked on a table with a helmet on. And this alien lady just climbs up on top of him.
Was he naked? That's what I wonder. I was like, was he naked? Had they stripped him down?
Must have been.
He got.
Not 100%
They
sure.
stripped it like it was like Gladiator, you know, when like they're going through the fucking tunnel and they like strip him naked and they slap the flour and shit on him, get ready to go. That's what they did, and that's why they're poking him with the fucking prod.
In this,
I'm not.
in this version
I mean,
of the
this
story,
isn't.
Dan,
This isn't the Villaboas case. They didn't lube him up with the boner jelly. This is just
Dan,
like
in
I'm
this
not sure if
version
he
of
was
the
closing
account,
this one.
he was naked. I think actually he might have been handcuffed to the table.
oh shit. Fuzzy handcuffs.
Yeah.
Fuzzy handcuffs.
Blue fuzzy handcuffs.
As this
Yeah.
sexy Brazilian. She says it's a Brazilian lady, or was it an alien, or was it like a hybrid?
No, it was just he said like when he's asked like in his account, like they ask him while he's under hypnotic aggression, like was she beautiful? And it's funny because like his response is kind of like I guess like it's just like medium Brazil. He's like
She's a
he's
six.
like our Brazilian women, but you know like the same,
Like
but
not a
little
hot
bit better.
one.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't go on a scale of like 1 to 10 or anything, but he just kind of like he doesn't seem really impressed. He's not like
1 to
God,
10
she's
is
stunning.
Fucking scale
know.
of 1 and 2, buddy.
Yeah.
One
You
to
would
10.
or you wouldn't.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, but apparently she approached him like while he was in the chair, and he talked about how she touched him. She put her hands on him, started
shit.
stroking his chest and his shoulders, and and she placed her hand down south of the equator.
You know, it's like just this blows my mind in all these fucking stories because like there's nothing more human to think that these fucking beings capable of intercellular travel
Nice.
that have all this fucking technology come to Earth just to fuck us. Like, come on.
Why not?
Well, because like, I mean, you're going to travel that far, like you just to fuck something. Like, I'm telling you, there's ways of taking samples from this thing without even touching.
I got the counterpoint. So you come all this way. Maybe it takes you a long time to get here. You're a little desperate. You're going for the native population now. You're on Earth. You're an alien, but they're like, all we got the.
There's other aliens to fuck, like your own people.
Maybe they don't. Maybe not. Maybe they're all. It's a single gender crew. Maybe they're really desperate.
It's just bizarre. It just blows my mind. Because like, I know you got those fucking weirdos
Or
on Earth, but that's your own planet. You didn't have to. Like, these got to be the best, sir. Like, you're sending these people to a different planet.
Yeah, but maybe you got to pay for it anywhere else where they're going. And Earth is free, baby. You just like pick them up. They got holes.
Or maybe
I don't know. They traveled all this way just to fuck me.
Dude, maybe we're just the truck stop glory hole on the way, right?
Intergalactic glory hole.
On the way through, they're like, all right, oh, there's Earth.
Or they're just after genetic material.
Which is so many other ways to get it.
Well,
and it's funny because he actually describes that before this, they took some samples from him and he was pretty sure they took sperm samples. So then this next part was just the icing on the cake, really, for him. He's just like, oh, this was rough. Oh, okay. Well, hey.
So I'm not, they do mention, like he does mention that they took some type of samples, blood samples, whatever. And then, he's pretty sure they collected a sperm sample, but he wasn't aroused.
Sure. He's like, I wasn't sure at first.
But I don't think he got aroused like during that. They didn't physically arouse him at that point. But once the lady...
My suspicions arose while I began to be filleted.
So he says that she gets him raring to go. And her coveralls just kind of open up.
They did where they're milking the horses and then they swap. They get the stallion all jacked up and they swap it with the sleeve. That's what they did to this poor kid.
I mean, that's what would make sense to me. It's just banging this dude because.
So after they collect, I don't know what it's like. They collect the samples, but then he proceeds to get it on with Space Brazilian lady. And so
all the samples.
He didn't get enough.
They allow him to get on top. Apparently he was on top.
Oh, nice.
When she kind of laid down on a table or in a chair, some sort on the back. And then they were kind of like, she was like, come on, I guess. Like, I don't know, give him the eye.
Maybe this is like a intergalactic donkey show. Like they just want this is.
He didn't say there were any disco lights on or anything,
Lights. Then she busted out the wedge. That's where things really started getting freaky.
But the thing is, so when Joselino is talking about this, he's talking about how he didn't feel pleasure like from her or from him.
Liar.
He said that it was very cold, very mechanical. Like what he was doing, like he wasn't doing. It was
all business.
Yeah. And, apparently she didn't even, because they asked him like
dinner first is what you're saying?
Well, there was no real foreplay except for like her just being like, boop, like, I don't know, like just,
I can fucking sense a incoming fetal position shower after for Jose here.
So she didn't even let him touch her. Apparently, she made some type of motion. She made some type of motion or some type of gesture that kind of told him like, no touching.
So smacked his hand away. He was trying to cop a field. Like,
he was trying to go for a kiss.
Little pucker.
Well, I think while he was
I don't kiss on the lips.
While he's under hypnotic regression, like the hypnotist is asking him, like, what did she look like? What did it look like down there?
I don't know. There was a sheet on top of me with my dick was in a hole here.
I mean, pretty much.
He's like, I had this stupid fucking helmet on. I couldn't see.
They asked her, like, what?
It was so tinted. So was it a woman? He's like, I hope so. I don't know.
Hope so.
They asked him, like, what, breasts, like, what were her breasts like? And he's like, I don't know. I didn't touch them. They're like, why didn't you touch them? Because she didn't want me to. He's like, how did you know that? It's like, I don't know. She just kind of looked at me and just said, like, shook her head or something. Just, no.
So she's lying down on her back. He can't touch her. So he's got to like position yourself in a perfect way, I guess.
He goes and then, he reports going until he finishes, and they both like get back up, and the lady's all business. Though she did wipe him down apparently after.
Wipe him down.
And
What?
This is a strange encounter.
And then he remembers her. He remembers her saying something along the lines
money's
of,
on the nightstand. Kick rocks.
There's your clothes, buddy. I called you an Uber.
Yeah.
Perhaps the seed will grow.
She wants
some
child.
alimony. She wants some child
She wants
support.
a human baby.
And so, but apparently there was some type of like post-coital conversation, some intergalactic pillow talk afterwards, because he said that he remembered like talking to her, like asking her questions about where they're from and what they're doing here.
Dude,
to that
he's
effect.
21.
Do you have any type of intergalactic STDs that I need to be aware of?
What? No
Are you on the
protection.
pill?
No protection and no coitus interruptus. Like it was like just
Go.
He's a daddy. That's it. Space daddy.
It's horrifying.
He says that he kind of got the impression that from what he remembers about her kind of talking to him, and I'm not sure that he's sure that he is actually that she was. I don't think she was actually vocally, like audibly talking. Like he kind of seems to
telepathy
in his recollections to be like she was communicating telepathically with him, which I assume is what they're doing, because the two males, I mean, he said they talked in a language that he didn't understand. So,
oh my God, were they in the
were they
room?
watching? Yeah.
Were they the
I
weirdos in the corner
think they
stroking
left
it?
the room. I think they actually. I think he remembers.
There was a little fucking peephole of glass that they're all staring through.
Yeah.
In there.
It's definitely some.
Oh, there's always that one weirdo in the corner stroking.
Some one-way mirrors.
Space cocks.
This is what it sounds like. I'm just calling it as it is here. They bring him in.
God.
Oh my God, this is all fucking alien fetish Pino. They come to Earth just to fuck a human.
Alien freaks. Like,
Oh man.
They're like, we're into some interspecies stuff.
Oh dude. It's like their version of Pornhub. It's one of the little sections. It's a category.
Yeah.
Way down at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So Joselino said that he got the impression, like from communicating with the female entity, that they would like to cultivate some type of friendship with us, but this species, these entities are judging us.
No, what she said is she goes,
similar.
hey, I'm sure we can be friends.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in anything much. Yeah, we can be
Nothing
friends.
serious.
That's it.
But yeah.
But after that, they pretty much like, he remembers just them getting him off the craft and then returning him to the ground via some type of floating mechanism. And his brother was still out there. Like his brother was still incapacitated down at the bottom.
So his brother is the 13-year-old, and he is the 21-year-old that got abducted by the aliens.
Oh, that's way better.
So, and then that's where he woke up. That's where he remembers waking up initially when they woke up at the bottom of the tree. Like that's from there is where he
wakes up feeling like for some reason just a lot less hostile, a little lighter, like a little weird. I don't know what's happening.
He's like, you know what? I need a snack. I need a snack and a Gatorade.
So I'm hungry. I'm sleepy.
Just feeling good.
I need a nap.
Interesting.
So why?
So yeah,
he barely walks. He's all tired.
Well, now we know he can't walk. That fucking wedge.
Yeah.
It's a fucking wedge.
He was on top for too long, man. His legs were numb, pins and needles.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is only one of the memories that happened to him on the ship. Maybe it was like a gauntlet he had to run. There's more than one. That's why he's so tired. He's exhausted. He gets home and he collapses like he's completely zapped of energy. One session shouldn't do that to you.
Not only that.
Yeah, he was just getting cramps. He wasn't getting electrocuted. He was just cramps from dehydration.
Well, who knows what they took, man? Like, remember, they took samples. How much blood did they take, right? Who knows what else they took? They already took his sperm cells. Guy's out of fluids, right?
He's completely drained.
He's hypovolemic.
Hypervolemic, that's the term.
He needs some cookie and juice.
Yeah, orange juice and some cookies. 20-minute rest.
Oh man, when I gave blood one time, I was trying to get some abs, trying to look good. And I went and gave blood because I wanted to know my blood type. and I refused the cookies and the juice after. Woke up fucking 2 hours later on a little bed.
Oh, you passed out right there?
Oh yeah, I fainted right after. These old ladies are pushing fucking arrowroot crackers and shit on me. I'm like, no man, it's not. Doesn't fit my macros. Fucking passed out like fucking 10 minutes later. That was great.
Okay, so hypothetical, say, like what? Why? Why would this happen to a human being abducted by aliens? They want his sperm, they want his DNA. As Andrew said, you can get the DNA different ways, but they want the sperm.
The thing that I kind of like noticed about this one and that I kind of wanted to get into is that this has a shocking amount of similarities between other case files or in other abduction cases. One that came to my mind when I was trying to think in my head today of like other cases where we've seen them take samples. And if you remember, like even Betty and Barney Hill, like Betty, they said they put the needle in her lower abdomen, right, in the stomach, and like they took some samples, right. And some people maybe speculated that they were taking eggs from her or something. And then Barney had, was samples taken from her. There was also a Kim Carlsberg in 1988. She was a photographer, and she says,
I watched this too.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
She said she's like they would implant. She would be abducted, and they'd take eggs from her. But they'd not only take eggs, they would mix these eggs on their ship and implant them in her, and then come back and visit her and take the fetus in the early stages and throw it on their ships. Like that's what she would claim, right? And there's tons of these experiencers and abductees who kind of are saying these things, that they're taking samples of our genetic makeup and stuff and making alien human hybrids.
What if so obviously, I guess essentially if let's say we attach ourselves to the Michael Masters theory that it is us traveling back from the future. I guess you would be an alien technically if you're living in space for that long. You would evolve into an alien eventually, right? You would no longer be human. But it makes me wonder, like, would you not, like, let's say they've been trying to continue the race and they're they do artificial insemination and stuff like that. But you would think maybe a few of them would want to experiment with procreation, like, the natural way.
If they're still like related to us genetically, they're still human. They're just been like, their bodies, they got the big head, the tiny skinny body. They've lost muscle mass and stuff, but they still maybe do have, even if the reproductive organs don't really work, like they can't like produce like they have to do like in a tube or whatever. Why not just get a little action? Try it out.
Well, just see, even just for like, let's say nobody's had sex and I don't know how many generations there. And they're like, we want to know what it's about. We want to know how they used to do it. Like that's part of like, that's research. Maybe that's like the way they were banging. That whole fucking interaction was super clinical, right? It was very cold and scientific.
I don't like that because is that some shit from the future where there's some aliens that can't do it. That guy was probably having sex with a civilization that's just plugged into this like robotic AI woman, right? To just feel the sensations. But one of the things that I was just thinking that you kind of brought up in my head is that, like, what makes a donkey? Is it it's a horse and a
mule and a horse? I'm
talking about mule.
Mule is a donkey and a horse that makes a mule, right? So maybe this is one of those things where these, like you said, Zell, where they've lost muscle mass and stuff. Bigger brains, bigger eyes, because they live a more docile life. Like this kind of seems kind of the route we're going. Birth is really hard on our body. So it seems like if we could take that out, it would be something that would be done in the future. But maybe this is one of those things where they're like, hey, like we need to do a couple of these other things. And it would be nice to have a couple brutes hanging around. And our genetic makeup still matches with our predecessors.
Create a slave race?
Well, not even, but if you're just like, hey, if we can mix, some of, our mental genes into this, we can make test tube jack babies that can do some of the physical
big
stuff.
Big dumb jack babies that can do all the hard work.
Yeah,
slave race.
Big dumb Mice Tysons to fight their wars or whatever. But I don't know what. But like, if you think about us now compared to like the descriptions of a gray alien, we seem like toe to toe
We're superheroes.
I feel like I could dust it, like no technology involved. I feel like I could dust a gray alien.
Hypothetical.
That makes sense because like Neanderthal could fucking whoop our asses.
Yeah.
Right?
So hypothetical, how many gray aliens could you take?
No, all of them.
No technology.
No tech.
All
Just
of them.
you versus gray aliens.
How tall are they?
They're 3.5. They're 3.5 feet. They're like 70 pounds.
Dude, those heads are huge targets, dude. Huge targets.
I don't know.
It'd be like five.
Like,
it'd be like
honestly,
fighting an 8-year-old.
I think what would happen is eventually there'd just be too many around me to move. But I'd be like Lord Sauron, just
cleaving
like this. Yeah. Oh man. And I'd just be pulling their arms off, just like no arms, no arms, no arms.
Fucking,
beating the other ones with their arms.
Ving Rhames and Mars Attacks, just fucking cracking skulls.
Yeah. That's the thing is we're a scary race. So if we still share like genetic makeup where they're like, hey, like, you know, we can still use them and their genetic makeup in this time
Not Ving
to
Rhames,
kind of like, it is Ving Rhames
is it?
in Mars Attacks. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Who's Punchy's the boxer?
Are you thinking Michael Austin Green?
Punching Mars.
I'm not.
It is Ving Rhames.
Is it Ving Rhames? Okay.
It is Ving
I shouldn't have
Rhames.
second guessed
100%
myself.
Ving Rhames. But I think that's a good. I think that's a sound theory. Now the other theory is that people think that you know
it's
there's
Jim Brown.
potentially like some.
Is it Jim Brown?
It's Jim Brown.
Is it Jim Brown?
NFL star Jim Brown. That's right. Yeah.
Is
awesome.
Ving Rhames in it?
No, I don't think so.
Is Ving
It's
Rhames
Jim
not in it?
Brown.
It's Jim
God
Brown.
damn, we're racist.
Why are we racist?
Oh, Jim Brown and Ving Rhames are very like they play very similar characters.
Yeah.
Do they?
They're both great.
Because in my head, in my
I like
head,
Jim Brown movies.
I instantly just swapped them. But the other thing people think is that maybe there's some sort of alien hybridization program going on with the governments of the world, because you know a lot of some of the videos that I watch, you know, they were talking about like various government officials being in the know, and you know, being rumors like J. Edgar Hoover and with the FBI and you know some other Teddy. Was it Roosevelt? Who is the other president that had the memos?
Oh, we did that case file way back.
Supposedly had the who had the meeting with aliens.
Oh, Eisenhower.
Is that the Linda Moulton Howe?
Eisenhower.
Yeah, Eisenhower. But like they're saying that like perhaps there's facilities in the continental U.S. and stuff where these you know these hybridization programs are taking place. To what end? We're not sure.
That's what I think, though. Okay, this is my theory. I think the hybrid program is more. I think that's more realistic than like us from the future. And the reason I say that is, so there is this ET race from a different solar system, many stars over, like whatever, 1,000, 10,000 light years. They get here. They're looking for a world similar to theirs. They can't actually, they're not the same species, so they can't actually breed. So in order to extract sperm, in this case, the Brazilian 6 out of 10, you would do it, I guess, girl that this dude's describing may not even be like real. It might be like a
fembot.
Like a fembot.
Yeah, it's a fembot.
And collects the sperm, they take the sperm and they like blend their DNA, like, you know, some like super advanced like CRISPR technology that they have to create, to implement their species into ours slowly, like one hybrid at a time. And after generations and generations, they just slowly overtake humanity from the inside.
Well, it's just one of those things like they now have, is it the dominant genes, right? So like the human, like our human gene or whatever is now the recessive gene moving forward in this hybrid. So even just a couple over the span of like the next 100 years, their dominant genes would take over. Is that kind of like
they just
like a slow takeover?
They have, so say these creatures from a different solar system, different galaxy, they are bipedal. They don't look human, so they make these like bionic creatures to like collect sperm or whatever, however they get it, and then they just hybridize how we look. Because, you know, you ever like in public and you look at a guy and you're like, could be an alien. I worked with this one dude, and I was like, man, he just like what just seemed a little weird. He looked a little weird. I was like, he could you know what? If there was hybrids, that could be right there, right in humanity. You wouldn't even know. So I'm saying, like, if they did come and they're maybe their planet got destroyed by some, high velocity impact or like super volcano, they left, or whatever the reason is, they're looking for a new planet. They found Earth and they're slowly hybridizing.
Well, it makes me, that like brings me back to like the story of the Nephilim with like the Watchers coming down to Earth and breeding with humans and creating like Nephilim, right?
Right.
Like, so maybe that's how it happened. Maybe that's where we came from. Maybe we are already hybrids.
Well, I mean, that's
because there's that 7% of DNA that somehow that like in 3000 BC, I'm butchering this, but I remember reading it somewhere that we got that all of a sudden we just gained that 7% of DNA that we have no idea where it came from.
Well, that's the theory like we talked about a long time ago, like, yeah, the Anunnaki, and they came here for whatever reason. I mean, the theories are like, oh, they were collecting gold to save their atmosphere, but like whatever the story is, they came here and they either bred or hybridized with humans, and then they just like instilled humanity pretty much. So
okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Now, the other thing that kind of popped into my head as we were talking about this is that perhaps, we talked about the Fermi paradox last case file, is that perhaps, Andrew, like you said, if they're a race where, say they're like, whatever they've traveled off on basically a one-way trip, like they're not going to go backwards. They can't, whether planet destroyed or it's not feasible. By the time they go back, anything could happen. So when they find life like ours, they just do that. Rather than take over a planet, they just integrate their DNA to basically, kind of like Zell said, is then you slowly have a planet takeover because your DNA is the dominant DNA in species. So you will just eventually kind of evolve to this next point where it's like, maybe it's just one of those things where it's just like, rather than taking over, it's just, you kind of just blend in because having life is important. So you just kind of go in, what's the word I'm saying? Kind of, you don't want to destroy it or take it over. You just want to merge with it, kind of blend.
Maybe this is a way of preserving their fucking species, their race. Who knows what's happening on their planet? Maybe they spread out through all these other planets and just try to see what sticks and like try to, preserve their cultures and their people, basically.
It's like what are they called? The blue aliens from Mass Effect. I can't remember what they call, but they all reproduce it. All of the offspring are female, but they can fuck anything. That you can have sex with anything, and they can produce progeny, but they're always that same species, and they're always female.
Huh?
And that's how they reproduce. Is they just go out there and they just pretty much bang everybody.
Yeah,
get it, Shepard.
Well, that could be it. Whatever this species is, they can take any DNA and it will auto compile. Just pop up, and so if you're this race, you go
Citadel, here I come.
You go to Earth, you bang some humans, your offspring, they're humanish. They're close enough. You wouldn't be able to tell a difference. You go to a different planet, you bang an insectoid, you got insectoid hybrids. It doesn't really matter.
Ooh. Oh, that's like Invincible.
Invincible?
You guys read that?
No.
Did you read that, Andrew?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and they go around and bang everybody, and they all have like super babies. Like it doesn't matter where they are. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the Bruce Willis movie.
No. That's
and I was like, oh, Unbreakable. That's
Unbreakable.
Right. I was very confused. I was like, I don't remember any of that. No, but it's interesting to think of if they're, because a lot of people say that a lot of theories go, if you're looking online and stuff, will say that there's underground bases. And a lot of these underground bases, they're
just fuck sheds.
They're just fuck sheds.
They're just fuck sheds, man.
Hey, you know what? It brought it up. Me and Andrew kind of talked about it earlier. It's glory holes across the world, right? Across the world. Who's cutting holes, right?
Well, all you do, those phone numbers, just fuck. All it does is beam an alien down to the fucking stall. You get a tap on your shoe for a good time. So you think you're having a good time. Next thing you know, you're fucking creating alien hybrids.
Yeah. They're out here getting samples and we're just falling for it. One glory hole at a time.
So what I mean, like that's why I find it's fun. Like they gotta fuck us? No, they don't. There's so many easier ways to get samples. Go fucking explore any 14-year-old's bedroom. You could be scraping that shit off of bed sheets and socks, pal. Free.
Yeah, but that's how long does sperm last?
I just get one of those cool lights. Go to a hotel room right after. CSI.
Right after. Yeah, I guess if you get it right away.
It is interesting because I'm like on the one hand, a lot of these cases involve them taking samples from people very clinically, needles in the abdomen and stuff like that. But then the ones
it's like silly. Why don't they just like rob a sperm bank or something?
Absolutely. Yes. Like there's so much easier ways to do. Unless they're studying sex itself. We don't know. Maybe they're studying the function of
right. Because I'm like the actual function of them having sex. I'm like, okay, well, what is the point of that? Other than there's either two reasons for me and it's pleasure or they're studying it. Exactly like you said.
Right. I don't know. It's an interesting like theory, like the hybrid program. We talk like are the governments in on it? I don't think the government would be able to keep a secret like that. I just really don't.
I don't think so either. Now, like maybe high level military, you could get into some like top secret bases that are maybe experimenting with it. But like some of the videos and stuff I watched on hybridization, like made it think that it was like wherever there's a cave, there's a hybridization program. There's
going on in there.
Sucking and fucking going on in there. Like either way.
I guess, but
like logistically, that would be too difficult because you need the just like the infrastructure, like to put together like the amount of personnel and material to kind of run one of those facilities would be kind of astronomical. Like you have to raise, like, I don't know, you'd have to like raise these kids or like put them somewhere. Like somebody has to be there. There has to be some sort of staff that's like, that understands like how the process works and how these kids are produced or whatever. Like I don't.
Well, and then you'd have to have people brought in to have, unless you're just taking samples, like maybe when you donate to the sperm bank and stuff, like, the government's like, we're taking a couple of these vials, right? And they go in there, making these things. It would make more sense that they're doing these in test tubes and growing these babies.
That's where all guys like our samples go like, oh, short, bald, and it gives us the fucking
trash.
Nobody wants these fucking DNA. These can fuck off.
Good enough.
Yeah.
They're already 3 foot tall, taller than them.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference.
I don't think that like even top end military. I mean, it's one thing to keep a secret of like, new government weapon or planes or like military technology. And that's another thing to keep a secret. Like, hey, there is aliens on Earth and we have them in this base. That's like, you know what I mean?
All right. But what if it's one of these things where they're starting to prepare us, like you said, it's like slowly, maybe it's over the course of the next 100 years, 200 years, however long it takes, but to make subtle changes to our DNA to make it so that we can either live on other planets or other areas where these other creatures live are more like we can survive better in those conditions, more habitable for us. Right. So they're making it, they're just doing small tweaks now on Earth with us, like kind of baby step in it. Right. And then like these next babies are going to be like a little step further and a step further and a step further until we have, humans that have these traits to be able to survive in space or on another planet where these things are from.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we can go build pyramids for them. Lifting 100-ton stones over our head like John Carter's from Mars, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a cool thought, at the very least.
Like Earth, intergalactic fuck shed.
Fuck shed.
I mean, fuck yeah, boys.
Yeah.
There's just like giant neon signs like outside our solar system. Like Voyager's gonna sail past out there, and there's just gonna be these big like just naked lady neon signs. Like it's gonna be like soy cowboy.
Sun.
Like
that means fun.
Yeah.
Fucking Earth's the intergalactic truck stop bathroom, man.
For a good time.
It makes sense, right? And
does it?
That's it. It does today.
To Braden,
Let us
it
know your
does.
thoughts. Let us know your thoughts and theories in we got social posts that we want to know them. You got an interesting kind of thought on the hybridization, why we didn't touch on, or you this sparked an idea and we want to hear it. Shoot us a message on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you DM
If you got alien abduction
it's all good.
/fic you want to send to Braden, do that.
If you are in fact an alien hybrid and you want to be the one to break the case to the world, make sure you contact us first.
Send really personal alien sexual fantasy fiction.
Whatever you got,
Fanfics.
let us know. We're down for it
Braden
all.
reads it all.
Awesome. Fun topic on a Valentine's Day.
Bit kinky.
A little kinky. Not enough to give a disclaimer though.
Nah.
You got offended by alien sex party in the ship? Sorry.
Live a little, bud.
Yeah. Who hasn't got a little freaky on an alien spacecraft?
Oh,
Right? We've all thought about it.
Have you ever watched The Fifth Element
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not
Your
thought
feelings on
about it?
that one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something happening here. Who's foul, baby?
It's going to be a little rusty on this one. It's been a while.
Been a while.
All right. So obviously at the beginning of these ones, we know that this didn't happen to me. It happened to a friend of a
Of
friend of a
course.
friend of mine, but it's just easier to say it in the first person. Makes for more, drama.
Of course.
A little bit more climatic, exciting. So this particular situation takes place in, like small interior city. Maybe let's say in the winter, nearing spring kind of ish.
On the verge.
On the verge. Things are still kind of shitty, but not as shitty as it is in winter, And like a lot of these stories start with, this one starts with a similar theme. A dropped 911 call.
Oh,
Okay. Not a lot of detail comes in. All we know is someone called 911. There was no contact. There was no one communicated with dispatch. There was a hang up. So precautionary, we send a unit just to make sure. So the unit responds routinely to this situation, to a small little, house in a little suburb outside the city. It's probably about, quarter to 10. So not too late, early evening. Knock on the door, no answer. Okay, interesting. Look at my partner, like, hey, do you see any way to get in? Like the door is locked. We'll go around, check the back door. Back door is locked. Okay. Should we call the fire department for, entry? No, I'm Spider-Man. I'll find my way in. End up finding window, pop up the screen, climb in, going around, unlock the door. Partner comes in. Kind of start yelling, hey, hello. So anyway, start, announcing that help is here and we're here to help. Nobody responds. Lights are off. It's 10 o'clock, so people are sleeping. Not overly alarming. Now, very cautiously walking through this house. There's been a few situations where a friend of a friend has been in situations like this where there have been dropped 911 calls, or they have been, a friend worried about a friend that they haven't talked to, and nobody answers the door, and you break in and you're rummaging around this house, and next thing you know, you have a fucking person with a baseball bat or a gun ready to murder you because you broke into their house and you're wearing a fucking mask and look terrifying. So, walking very gingerly, making sure that we're well known, no answer. Search the house, end up getting to the bedroom. Door is cracked, open the door, there's somebody in the bed. Hello, can you hear us? No answering. Flip on the light. Light turns on. And I don't know, have you guys seen Nightmare on Elm Street?
oh yeah.
Remember fucking Johnny Depp's death scene? There's literally someone lying in bed And 90% of this, at least queen-size bed, is covered in blood, including the person. So instantly rush over to the patient, hand on the carotid. We have a fucking very thready, weak carotid. Okay, great. Where the fuck is this bleed coming from? Get on the radio. We need another unit here. Code 3 right away. Send the fire department as well. Like anticipating cardiac arrest. This person looks like they're about to exsanguinate. You know, at the very least, they're in hypovolemic shock. So start a set of vitals, pressures in the tank. Get nothing, right? I start a large bore IV. Partner starts cutting off clothes, looking for a bleed, searching, can't find anything, head to toe, not a single fucking wound. Okay? Like this looks like a murder victim. And we're talking blood from head to fucking toe. So we're like, okay, you know, cut off the clothes. We don't know what to do. We're going to initiate transport. And at this point, we're going, what the fuck is going on? So as we're assessing this patient, okay, we got fluid in, open it up, anticipating hypovolemic shock here. They're going to go into arrest. Like it's inevitable. You know, as we start prepping for transport, there goes the carotid. This person now officially in arrest. So we go to move them to the bed. And this is fresh. This is fresh blood. It's not congealed really yet. This is all fresh bleeding. And you're going and you're grabbing this person and trying to pull them off the bed and you're sliding off. We're literally like fucking Kevin trying to scoop chili back in the fucking pot, trying to get this guy off the bed. And we finally do. We start working them. Unfortunately, right, you're not moving any fluid around. There's no blood to move around at this point. We're moving around the saline that we're putting in like the little that's left. Okay. Put on the monitor, we're getting a little pulseless electrical activity, right? Get some PEA. All right. We're not really making any headway. Push epi, do all our normal things. Nothing. So while we're working this person, the other crew shows up and we get we get another unit respond in, which usually they're the specialists, let's say, right? So they carry a really high license level and they're, you know, who comes in these kind of crazy situations. And as we're working this person, you know, he's kind of going around. We haven't got our discontinuation orders yet. All right. But we're all sensing the same thing. Like this is a lost cause, right? This is horrible. But he walks in and he's got a piece of paper and he's like, this person just went in for PCI. And we're like, you know, like percutaneous coronary intervention, which means this person just went in for stent. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know how they go in for stents, but they go in two ways. They go in through your femoral artery in your leg, in your groin, or they go in through your wrist, your radial. And what they do is they put in a stent through your heart to open up a clogged artery. Right? So as soon as he said that, immediately jump down, go look at his wrists, nothing, go down his femoral artery. And there it is right there. There's a small hole in his femoral artery from where he went in and got a stent put in. So apparently he left the hospital early against medical advice. Went to bed, popped his clot, and just fucking bled out. In the middle of the night, had no idea. Obviously woke up to the point where it was way too late. And that was it.
So he would have called then? He was the drop call?
He was the one that called. But he obviously woke up being like, holy fuck, what the hell's happening? Called. And I mean, I'm assuming it was a little bit too late. Because I couldn't communicate what was going on.
Because with no resistance, like you bleed out real quick, right?
Oh yeah. Well, your femoral artery is big. It's like fucking opening up a garden hose.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Like it just walking in there and seeing it, like you literally thought this person got like just ripped to pieces with the amount of blood they were in. Like we're thinking like this guy was murdered. Jason came in here and hacked him to pieces.
Yeah, that's an 80s horror movie right there.
Oh, and then just to be searching and searching and searching, and you could not find like nowhere where this blood was coming from. It's like, did somebody come in here and dump a bucket of fucking pig's blood on him? Like, this doesn't make sense.
Wild.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It's an interesting one.
Another interesting tale from a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
All right, who do we got for Theorite of the week?
Okay, we got so we're going to start with a runner-up for Theorite of the week.
All right.
This week's runner-up is Guillermo Anarch Rojas. Probably butchers.
I recognize the name.
Yeah, I think he's won it a few
Is it
times.
Guillermo or Guillermo?
Guillermo. I'm pretty sure I called him Guillermo last time too.
Okay.
That's fair.
Hey, man.
Keep just as long as you're consistent. I mean, that's okay.
Hey, listen.
That's the Canadian
sometimes
accent.
Names are hard to say.
Canadian accent.
Sometimes names are hard to say, man. So he made an awesome post on our socials. It was just curious what the boys do for a living. We know what the mongoose does and now what Braden does as well. But what do the other two do? Also, what about you guys? How do you guys support your ATT addictions? Me, I'm an EMS dispatcher, call taker. Before that, I was an HVAC installer technician. And before that, I sit tiles for a living.
Oh, fun.
So-
Well-traveled.
Isn't it, a well-traveled guy, interesting post, ended up getting close to 100 comments on. But one of these comments kind of stood out
Okay.
as opposed to the other ones. And it was from Joseph Ashley. And here's his post. This is his reply. This is all from early listening memories, and all of it could be wrong. Zell was a carpenter like his father before him until he became a vampire and had to hang up his bags. He now runs a production company called Meteor Studios because he can keep it nice and dark in there. I believe he also has an all-night vehicle testing center called Nocturnal Emissions.
That's great.
Andrew chases ambulances around in search of good stories as he someday hopes to be a journalist like his hero, Braden Peter Parker. He's also hoping to someday be turned into a real boy like his brother Pinocchio. Hysterically, Braden used to be an English teacher in Thailand, where he met Dan. The others grew up together. Braden and Dan almost died floating down a river after drinking too many mushroom smoothies. They were eventually
Half
led
right.
to safety through the woods by a small girl. That girl turned out to be a Wendigo and demanded the Broca's area of Braden's frontal lobe as payment, thus explaining his current struggles with the language he used to teach. Braden was removed from the country after a terrorist incident in the classroom involving an exploding bottle of piss.
Biohazard.
Dan is a perpetual student who is about to return to Thailand to continue teaching English. He also visits the ladyboy bars because, as he puts it, they have the cheapest drinks.
They do.
What can I say? If you know, you know.
No, it was that weird bar over there. What was it? Was it King something? They had like their own beer that they brewed on the premise. I'm sure it was just like,
Dude, I think
by brewed, it's like the skunky beer that they had the night before. It just like spilled over and
All
like
the
they
bar
kept
mat.
it in. Yeah.
Put it in.
They
The bar
ringed
mat
out-
special.
Yeah, they just ringed out like the towels.
It was bad.
Oh man,
It was a
that
good
stuff was
post.
gross.
I just wanted to add that nice try trying to say you know what I do. No one knows what I do because, like I said in the post, I'm a hard man to employ.
Braden actually has never
It's
worked ever. He can't. He can't keep it.
Jack of all trades. Literally.
Yeah, if that was you would have to listen to a lot of the backstories of the pod to know some of those.
Yeah, you got some of them kind of right.
Yeah, the
it's-
Braden
it's
and
pretty
Dan
funny.
down the river in Thailand was
That's actually me
was
and Sel.
Yeah, it's me and Braden, but
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's piecing shit together.
Yeah, it's good
It's
stuff.
pretty
It's
funny.
not bad.
I enjoyed it.
It's
I think it's
fucking-
pretty good.
It's pretty funny. I had a good laugh.
So Joseph Rick Ashley won it. Good for him.
Joseph Rick S.
That's Rick Ashley.
I'm going to give you a...
All right. And if you're not supporting the show, you want to support your boys, your favorite podcast,
Grow up and fucking do it.
Alien
Let's do it.
Go to alientheorist.com. You can find the links there. Supercast and Patreon. They do the same thing. Supercast does allow you to put the private feed into Spotify, the only one. So if that's your jam, that's for you. This week's newest supporters, we got Nick Perkins, Cool Mofo, Andre Lacoste, a full year pledge by Jordan Healy, Leah Davis. Oh, this guy's an absolute legend. A full year pledge at the top tier by Scott.
Oh, shit.
Kadu? Kadiao? Kadu. Either
Champion.
one.
Fucking
Legend.
Scott Champion.
The Average Benz. And last but not least, we got Rizmuth. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, I forgot the one from Supercast. Luis Castro. Thank you very much.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies.
See you in the after hours.
That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.